Kaji, please be mature. That's all I ask. This guy had a whole lot of nothing to say, it seemed like. Because I said all the same things as this guy did. And for some reason, because I was not his friend, and I was arguing with his friend, saying basically that the tessitura is not determined by your timbre, and your voice type is not determined by your timbre. Your timbre, the timbre of your voice has nothing to do with what voice type you have, because you could be a mezzo-soprano, you could be a soprano, and have a very dark, deep voice that sounds masculine. That doesn't mean you're a contralto. What's going to make you a contralto is going to have to do with having a tessitura that is lower than a mezzo-soprano or a soprano, and it's going to be very similar to the tessitura of a tenor. And I use myself as an example. I have a tessitura around F3 to F4, basically, and the average tenor has the tessitura of about F3 to G4. So that's what I was trying to say, basically, was that a contralto is going to have a tessitura similar to a tenor. This has to do with the type of songs that are going to be good for a contralto and a tenor. For example, if you have a contralto voice type, it's not going to be as comfortable to sing a bass song or a soprano song, period. That's what I was trying to convey, but for some reason this guy was so angry simply because I was arguing with someone he, I guess, liked. While he is arguing with me and trying to get mad at me for me agreeing and basically saying the same thing. The tessitura determines your voice type. He got angry at me because I was arguing with the person he was supposed to like, but he didn't agree with the person he liked. So that's why he had this issue. And it's like, it's immature to me because it's like, okay, I understand you have a friend, okay? I understand you are friendly with somebody. But that does not mean you have to be all upset when I specifically am disagreeing with this person because you're saying someone has to sound like a man or sound a certain way, their timbre has to be a certain way to be a certain voice type. That's not how voice type works. It's not. It's about what your tessitura is, basically. It's where your voice is most comfortable. Which notes are your most comfortable notes for your voice, basically. And I know this personally because my voice type is, I guess, contralto voice type. I have a very large range with my vocal range, apparently. But I mean, for me, it's kind of like this. I am a beginner. Yes, I do admit I am a beginner. And for me, my voice is kind of like a guitar that I don't know how to play. So I mean, like, I have that whole situation, but to me it's just kind of like, I just, like, I know a few things about voice type, at least, because it was always interesting to me how it was so easy or much easier to sing male songs than female songs. And I was always taught that those songs were not really actually somebody who was actually singing a song. I was taught that that's a song that basically that the men were basically just not singing, really, and the women were singing, and so then I kind of, I don't know, I was told that that was supposed to be the easy way of singing, but then I learned that's not it. It's just that my voice type is more prone to singing male songs than female songs, um but yeah, that's just my what I wanted to say here is just like, I agree that the tessitura determines your voice type in many ways. I know people also talk about passageways and things of that nature. People will use the whole range situation, but that's kind of silly when you use the vocal range, in my opinion, because think of it. Okay, if you really look at my vocal range. Just take mine, for example, average individuals, Joe here, Jane here, whatever. Um, I like to say Joe because my last name is Joseph, so I might as well say Joe is more appropriate than Jane, but anyway. Um, if you take a voice type that starts at around, let's just make it minimum for like an F2, and take it all the way up to about G5 or G6. If you take that whole vocal range, you could argue that person is soprano. You can argue that person is mezzo soprano. You can argue that person is contralto. You can argue they are tenor. You can argue that they are baritone. You might even, you're close to even arguing that person is bass, okay? So when you have a large or larger vocal range, it's not really smart to go off of the vocal range of how far your voice goes, because your voice could have like a lot of different octaves that is accessible to you, but what is most comfortable to you is going to be a specific area. So if you just have one specific area that's specific that you're more comfortable in, you'll be more likely to possibly fit a tenor like me, and more like common with contraltos. So that's why I think the tessitura is more important, and the passageways are important to note as well. But that's what I was saying. I mean, like, why are you getting mad at me for agreeing with you? You're mad at me that I agree with you because you feel you're supposed to not agree with me because you belong in a clique, basically. You belong in a group and you're group minded, basically. Group minded people don't care what is being said. They only care about who they like and who they're supposed to support. And even if they're saying something that's going against the person that they're supposed to support, they will try and reel against the person that they don't like, even if that person they agree with. Just like this situation. So, I mean, at least could you make up a reason to have an issue instead of just parroting basically what I just said? Like, you could have at least tried to come up with something to have an issue with. Instead, you started trying to pick apart, like saying things like Dugazin, or trying to say that Dugazin is not in between contralto and a mezzo soprano, even though I saw that it was on the site. So, I mean, like, if you're upset at me for Lana Del Rey being called a Dugazin, you take it up to the site that named her that. Or the other situation, you had another issue with, what was the other issue? Oh, you had an issue with Mariah Carey being called a contralto. Take it up to Mariah Carey. I mean, she gets paid more than you. She is a professional singer. She's one of the best singers in the world of all time. You take it up to her and tell her she's not a contralto when she said she was. So, I mean, you could take it up to her. I would trust her over you. Who are you? I don't even know. I went to your channel and I couldn't even see a face. So, I mean, like, your channel only has 2,000 subscribers in it. You're not really any different from me at this point. So, I mean, like, I don't understand why you're acting like you're supposed to be able to know more about someone's vocal type or their voice type than the actual star does. How do you know more about Mariah Carey than Mariah Carey knows about herself? Like, that doesn't make sense, dude. Stay in your place and understand your place instead of trying to distinguish people who you've never even probably seen in real life. Just saying. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, everyone. Comment down below and have a great day. Bye.